why would somebody not take it?
No, they could be. See,
There is no premium, there is nothing, just
there are 8 claims still pending in our system of 2018. Okay, those claims are the date of death is the date of start of policy.
Sorry?
The date of death is the date of start of policy. So LIC says there could be an issue here. So those kind of things are there. Yeah. Then there are some claims where I mean there are two families who are claiming that they should get the
nominees are fighting there.
So those kind of cases are there. There could also be some technical reasons. The Aadhaar number is not mentioned correctly. So those kind of things. But those we'll try to sort out with LIC.
And the scale right now, it's some big amount that
5 lakhs.
5 lakh. No, the scale, it's
36 lakh people are
36 lakh people have been covered.
and about 1 lakh people are going to get claims in the next 2-3 days. We will touch.
People are going to get their claims.
We are going to touch 1 lakh claims in the next 2-3 days.
But out of 65, only 36 are taking one. Like his question was, why we are saying don't want to pay?
There will be about 5 to 6 lakh people who don't want to enroll because they could be professionals living in Hyderabad who own land. Okay, so that will be one set of people. Then there will be people over the age of 69. Okay, and then when we say
59.
59.
59.
Then there will be cases where one farmer owns land in more than one village.
Oh, so it's a so that 64 lakh is not 64 lakh individual unique cases. Yeah.
And how does the transfer happen from the father to the son or the next heir?
The mutation. Okay, it is done through
No,
the
the land happens, but the scheme also
So,
automatically happens.
no, you are talking about Raitu Bandhu, no?
Suppose the
Raitu
father
Bima.
dies.
Okay.
Not Raitu Bandhu.
Bima.
I'm talking about the Bima.
Yeah. So,
but that would be the same for Raitu Bandhu also, I guess.
yeah. So, under Dharani, what happens is mutation is automated. So, if I buy land, okay, then his land is debited and my passbook is credited.
Correct.
Almost instantaneously at the Tehsildar office. If it's a case of death, then the Tehsildar is empowered for like the family members to take a slot and get the name of the person from within the family who
The legal heir.
yeah. So succession is done by the Tehsildar.
Yes.
Now, but then the new farmer doesn't get coverage from day one. He has to wait for the new policy year, which is 14th August.
Oh.
So on 14th August of the subsequent year,
Here he gets an
he can get enrolled
Correct.
with his nominee.
And just curious, are there women headed household also as farmers?
Yes.
of these 64 lakhs. Any idea how many?
I'll have to get the data, but I think it will be around 15 to 20
Yeah,
lakh.
can't be more. That's also pretty good.
15 to 20 lakh. And then, so Raitu Bandhu and Raitu Bima are the schemes which sort of provide investment support and protection. Then we also have a procurement policy, which is quite.
But before you go, does this cover suicide?
Yes.
Any death?
No, that's it.
No, I'm asking any death.
Any death, any reason, accident, suicide. Yeah. So you die before.
No, but in all group insurance schemes, suicide is covered. Not only for. Yes, only in the first year or first month, LIC doesn't cover.
Achha. Yeah. All right.
So basically, what it means is that if you plan for your own suicide, you cannot take a policy. But if it happens 5 years after you have taken the policy, then it is
you've done really far ahead.
That kind of long-term planning is excused.
I am told that many times suicide is a homicide because the old man doesn't want to sell the land which is appreciated and the children want to sell it away.
Was
So
possible.
they finish the
No,
old
so
land.
actually suicide, there is a huge story behind that. Actually, we from basics we conducted a research specifically looking at the suicide cases. And because our research question was, if the crop has been that bad, then why only 2 out of the 250 farmers committed suicide? Why not the other? So we formulated the research question the other way around. The whole range of issues that have gone into this suicide. Suicides are very rarely due to crop failure. Very rarely due to crop failure or money lender pressure. You know, there is a whole, of course I don't want to get into that story, but there is a full research available now.
So, but why have they come down then? See, there is a significant drop in farmer suicides, at least in the state.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I think
I
that
believe
that
economic well-being would
Yeah, I think-
certainly reduce it.
see, I don't know, those who have been born and brought up in Hyderabad, you must have heard this term Palamur labor.
Yeah,
Okay, Palamur labor.
Palamur labor, yeah.
So there is to be a entire migration of able-bodied men and women from Mahbub Nagar and the surrounding districts to Surat, Mumbai and all that. I think that has significantly come down over the last few years. In fact, it has led to reverse migration. It has led to reverse migration where people are able to go back to agriculture
And that of course is a greatly, at least in the village wise, they attribute it to the irrigation
yes.
and power availability.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely say that because of that we don't have to migrate anymore.
Sir, it might be too early to ask this, but is there a shift to the farmers who are as they, like we saw in most of the agricultural prosperous areas, some aligned economic activities?
Yeah, so it
Maybe
is
too early
it is
to
it is an inevitable economic driver.
Yeah,
It
yes.
will happen, but we must recognize that this kind of growth in agriculture is only a 2016, 17, 18.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah.
Too early to ask.
Okay.
But
But-
I think in the future, as in Punjab, the farmers will stop working and the Bihar and the eastern UP. they
No,
will-
even in Telangana
No,
now,
already we have
even in Telangana
Local
now,
labor is already started.
Yes.
even in Telangana now, in the paddy sowing areas, it is labor who come from Bihar, UP, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra who do the sowing operations. Okay, it is beneficial to them and beneficial to the farmers also. They will start work at the break of dawn, and it is piece rate basis, so it is easy for them to complete their work.
Okay, sir,
And
one
then
more question.
for harvest, you have harvesters coming from Punjab and other places. So it is some kind of capitalistic transformation, especially of
Even
paddy, which is
Now
happening.
harvesters also,
Mm.
we have
also started.
for example, Kolhapur, if you go to Kolhapur in Mahbub Nagar, whole village is like machines. They will go to even neighbor
they-
Maharashtra and
They lease out.
They
Yeah.
send their things out and get.
Kolhapur is like harvesters.
Is a Mahbub Nagar.
So
Maybe
how are these labor occupied then, the ones who used to migrate earlier, now they're no longer migrating? And
So they,
how are
if
they
they
occupied?
if they had 1 or 2 acres of land, they are cultivating that. There is enough water. Okay.
That's the area that has gone up.
The occupational diversification, it's not that they are only still relying on, depending upon agriculture. Along with agriculture also, there is
There-
diversified activities. Many
So
others.
just I had one more question, which of course not so much in Telangana, but maybe in Andhra, I've been hearing from farmers, which is the removal of the millets.
Millets.
Yes, that is
And
taken.
millets with this, all this heavy irrigation and water coming in, earlier whatever land used to be put under millets have
Has gone down.
really been.
Drastically.
It has gone down
And not
drastically.
only
Mental
millets,
health also we have to see.
not also just millets, but also other crop
Yeah,
diversity.
other
Crop diversity has gone down in favor of wheat, paddy, not wheat, paddy and
Paddy.
paddy and cotton. Yeah. So I think that is the real challenge for Telangana. Our future will depend on how much we can take farmers away. See, there is an element of what should I say, seductive nature to paddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sowing window is very long. You can sow in June, July, August, September.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then in Telangana, we have, as I said, 10,000 villages. We have 7,000 procurement centers. So every 2-3 kilometers, you will have a procurement center.
Yeah.
And there you get MSP.
But this MSP is for 24 different types of crops, right?
Yeah, Yes, there
Or
are 24
paddy
different
is-
crops, but paddy, because we
Different
produce a
crops.
lot of paddy,
But I cannot take within the.
you
packet
can,
procurement.
you can, but the way it operates is this. Because because rice is part of our PDS,
Right.
okay? The FCI requires all the paddy that we can produce.
So is the wheat.
Yeah, so is the wheat, because there are wheat consuming states. But if I produce Bengal gram, the government of India says we will give you only 25% of your production capacity to be procured. So the rest of it, either state government has to procure or the farmer has to sell at distress price. Because of that 25% restriction. Whereas with paddy it is possible to say we will procure 100%. Cotton also has the advantage. Cotton Corporation of India is willing to buy the entire
So how many centers you said?
7,
7,000.
around 7,000 centers
For 5,000.
for
For
about
10,000.
10,000 villages.
That
So every
procurement
1.5
centers
village
are-
has
we
a-
have a different system.
So that
Village-
price discovery is
So-
easy.
Is
Yeah.
So procurement in most other states is done in mandis. Like Telangana has 190 odd mandis. But once you decentralize to procurement centers, with self-help groups, packs and all that, they do the procurement and we are able to procure much higher quantities. Okay. So paddy, as I was saying, the pest and disease attack also is very minimal. Okay. Then the other advantage is the sowing window. You have a long sowing window. There are people who can sow in November, December, January, February also. Okay. Because water is the only thing which is required. And then you have assured procurement. And the Civil Supplies Corporation in Telangana, we transfer money to the farmers' accounts within 48 to 72 hours after the crop is procured.
These procurement centers are run by who?
It is run by PACs, the primary agricultural self-help groups, then sometimes FPOs.
Okay. So the normal trade does not object to this. It falls within the APMC Act.
Yes. So normal trade, because the product goes into the FCI network, Food Corporation of India's network, it goes into the PDS and all that.
So they are appointed as agents of the FCI.
They are appointed as agents of the Civil Supplies Corporation. Civil Supplies Corporation procures paddy. Government of India doesn't procure paddy. We have to give them only rice. So we have to mill it and give it to them.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's the rice that's the rice story as to why paddy is preferred and you have so much.
But are there rice mills also? Again, this is
Yeah.
very early to ask.
So we have rice mills. I don't have the exact number, but broadly it is like this. Our milling capacity is around 10 to 12 lakh metric tons per month.
Correct.
Okay. Our production is around 300 lakh metric tons. So that is where is the difference. So at any given time you are trying to catch up with the
So
milling
milling
cycle.
at that speed.
And what about the storage? Do you also need?
So storage is a very important thing. When Telangana was formed, we had around 20 to 25 lakh metric tons of storage for agricultural commodities. Now it is 80 lakh metric tons. Lot of support from NABARD in the first 2-3 years. Lot of private entrepreneur godowns also have come up. But still there is a lot of scope.
Yeah, it can go up to at least double that.
And we were told that typically a farmer need to book around 100 quintal for him or her to get access to the cold storage. Is it true?
Cold storage.
It's different. It's just the storage.
Cold storage doesn't apply to paddy or
Yes,
cotton.
correct.
Yeah. It is that potato and
Yeah.
Potato,
The
chilli.
capacity has increased in the state, the cold storage capacity. Lot of the markets, local, they have around that, even private cold
Because
storage.
You're talking about the crop diversification.
Yeah, so
And there are some studies which suggest that because of inability for the farmer to get access
Yes. So horticulture requires an entirely different kind of interventions, and I think the next stage for Telangana agriculture development will be to focus on ensuring that the farming becomes a profitable enterprise for the farmer. So migration to integrated farming system, that is not only paddy but you have a little bit of fishery, then poultry, some animal husbandry kind of thing, or apart do vegetable, then some crop, orchard crop. So it is that kind of a thing that, and then maybe more control over climate change.
Yeah. Okay, I am very conscious we are running out of time. Raghunandan, you particularly are, so you can move whenever you want. But so any questions, and we can.
There's just one thing I would like to say, sir, that since you are at the helm of affairs of agriculture and crop diversification will be an important thing, I think seed spices have a great role to play
Yeah.
because it is a dry crop. It's not a perishable commodity, and it's high value. It is exportable, and it is amicable to value addition.
Yeah, so in horticulture we need to work on spices.
Yes.
Okay. Then on fruits.
Seed spices especially.
Yeah, seed spices, seed spices, then on fruits.
But
Then
when you
also
do
on
fruits,
floriculture.
there must be
Processing
various technology.
and
so-
processing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, but Hyderabad is a big market.
Mm.
So unless we.
Tomatoes are thrown on the streets.
No.
It's moving from 10 rupees a kg
No.
to 100 rupees a kg.
Yeah, so.
That's
Why
the
price very
fluctuation.
low? Is it going for 2-3 rupees a kg?
Huh.
So, yeah, so I went to Vikarabad recently when there was a hailstorm. The farmer there does tomato cultivation only. He says once in 3-4 years we have this kind of a glut, but my other years make up for it.
That is true. Yeah.
But I think the seed spice is a very potential crop for Telangana. When I was directing the seed crop research of the whole country from Ajmer, National Research Center on Seed Spices, I gave a lot of experimental trials to Hyderabad and Lam Farm and these places. And we found that they do very well. Seed spice bowl is actually the Rajasthan and the Gujarat, which are essentially dry beds. And we are similarly dry, but now we are better. But if they are irrigated, they do better. There is no issue on that. So I think Nigella, Ajwan, fennel,
Yeah.
fenugreek,
Yeah.
these are some crops which are very high value. They give better returns. उसमें चोरी का चक्कर नहीं है, and less pests and diseases. They are virtually doing well. And last Rabi, I had a cluster of farmers in Adilabad growing Nigella.
Okay.
They did very well. They had a good harvest and all that. So I think this is something which
Great.
we might
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
take note of.
Yeah, Matthew. Yeah.
Question, if you can allow it.
Yeah.
See, I've been concerned about change of food habits. See, when your cropping pattern changes, much of what the farmers do is what they grow, is what they retail. And when, I don't know what the traditional food habits were, whether, I think they were using a lot of millets in their foods. But once they start growing paddy and millets became more expensive and they can't grow millets, so what is the impact on health? Because millets are actually kept them healthier. Millets have high protein and they're better for them. Okay? And their food habits were also different. They would know how to cook various kinds of things with millets. Paddy is just rice and So what has been the impact on the health of the people who have had to move from, who have not had to, who have moved from millets to
Yeah, so
paddy?
in rural Telangana, I think it is not because of the last 4-5 years. We have moved away from millets from our plate, basically from the time we started the 2 rupees a kilo BM.
Exactly.
Right. 50 years.
Exactly. That's what
So
farmers are
unless
Because in which year?
when that was 1983, 84,
No, 1983.
83, 84.
Go
So-
before that.
Yeah.
When the wheat came in, wheat paddy,
Yeah.
that actually pushed it up.
Yes.
So when we were looking at food self-sufficiency, we started interpreting food self-sufficiency as only cereal self-sufficiency.
Correct.
And not like nutritional self-sufficiency. So unless we increase the basket of goods which are available under PDS and make it accessible to people. These kind of issues.
Yeah.
So I have to go.
Yeah,
Yes, one thing is how we approach this. So we have done some work before, for the government of Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh, where basically we look into the cost-benefit analysis of various interventions. So there we look into farm loan waiver as one of the interventions. We look into building more cold storage, building more food processing units, and access to e-money. Right? So here, after listening to you, I think the natural way to start would be the intervention year, as you are saying, between 2017-18, because that's where the intervention is coming. And because you are also looking into trying to make this as the pride, so-called pride of the income for the farmers, the better way to start would be to see how there is a difference in the crop yield and income before and after intervention. And because you are talking about paddy being the majority of the crop, we look into the paddy's yield as well as the MSP or the income which is going, and also look at what are the various costs involved for this type of intervention. For instance, you talked about 65,000 crore rupees being spent towards that.
Right.
And at the same time, in what way you have also spoken about how the acreage as well as the output has increased, and therefore how much additional income has gone to the farmers. So we can actually
Do that
start,
exercise.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it'll be a very substantial thing. Yeah.
and also to share our paper, so we have published
Yes,
also
yes.
in EPW. I don't know whether you
That's the thing that Salima was saying. She is the one. We did it for her.
economic and political.
What's the paper about?
The farm law levels.
A farm.
Yeah. Well, so we'll have looked into all the intervention, and we have also written extensively, if you want, also for the outreach.
Yeah.
But after basics, I've been involved in Samunati, where we believe that, if you have to do a farmer financing, you have to finance also the buyer and the exporter. So it's a full value chain financing is what we are working on. So therefore, it's a planning where we have just taken a few crops, where we start from the seed imports, so we finance them,
See you.
farmers, and their buyers, processors, marketers.
Giving both infrastructure and finance.
So the point that I'm saying is, so therefore the plan is not only about the farmer, it's about the value chain which we need to work on. And that's what we have been working in Samunati, and also we are trying to work with others. Now, I think that's a line in which we need to start thinking as well. Has to be a full value chain intervention.
Yeah, obviously.
Putting these down.
Paddy value chain
You
is
also
something
have
that we
the-
can consider.
Absolutely. Love to work with that.
Wonderful. Asi? Any? Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Since Telangana, I mean, it's a dry region, right? And we had to invest a lot in water. Why didn't we incentivize crops to grow crops that were not as intensive as paddy? Like, why not go in that state instead of, I mean, yes, that paddy is being grown, but why not incentivize the farmers to grow less water-intensive crops as well?
Yeah, so.
Adding to that,
Water, just because we are giving water, it doesn't mean that farmer has to go for paddy. Water is required for agriculture. So what government has done is, it has ensured that water is available. By making water available, the farmer has to make a choice. Now paddy is a crop which is known to the farmer. Okay. Yeah, so several other initiatives are happening. Like if you go into rural areas, you will find people growing dragon fruit. Dragon fruit was not at all there in our supermarkets, but now it is.
Why is light required for dragon fruit? I see a lot of farms which have lights in the evening. And when I ask them, this is required for the dragon fruit.
I didn't know. So I have
See,
to check.
The cactus, dragon fruit, it looks like a cactus. I guess it needs a lot of.
Insect, that may be light, may be insect.
Maybe if you travel in the ORR in the night, you'll find a lot of fields are lit up. So I asked somebody, is there what is happening here? So this is dragon fruit.
See, the photo duration of different crops requirement is different.
Okay.
So like for instance chrysanthemums,
Hmm.
if you want to force the chrysanthemums to flower in say summer, you put a black cloth over it, reducing the light duration, they will flower. If you want something to flower in winter, which requires a longer light duration, you put bulbs on it, they flower. So this is a controlled environment. We can control light, intensity, duration, humidity, temperature, anything you can control.
Sorry, I intervened.
No, no issue. So,
Yeah,
so it was
so-
easier for farmer to take to paddy. So now the burden is on us to wean him out of paddy as we go along. But we have to target the right kind of farmer. So one of the initiatives that we are doing now over the last 2 years is oil palm. Okay. So we import a lot of oil palm.
Why not pulses? Because that's really, if you look at nutrition again and again, going back to nutrition, pulses have become so expensive, the poor almost can't afford. And so there's going to be protein deficiency.
Yeah, so
That will impact other things.
yeah, so oil palm is one thing that we are doing. We are also doing groundnut, Bengal gram, and all this. Okay, so over the last 2 years, groundnut area has gone up by 1 lakh. Bengal gram area has also gone up. But we should also recognize that at the state level, we are looking at crops which can take 10 lakh acres. Not 2-3 lakh acres. The dragon fruit kind of thing. Anyway, the entrepreneur farmer will come. Yeah, so
capacity to go to that level.
yeah, pulses. No, India needs that kind of that kind of
Yeah, I
investments.
think we're importing
But
pulses. Right?
yeah,
So
we import lot of.
we were not importing at one time. At one time, we were all the arid regions were growing pulses, and as division kept into the
Yeah, so I
use the pulses.
pulses have come down, but as I said, we need to have a proper procurement policy.
I think one other thing is because paddy is being procured 100% and it's available in PDS, pulses are not getting procured. It's an easy way out for them.
Yeah,
Paddy
that-
gets procured. Pulses grow currently, so they'll have to find the market.
Yes, that is the
That
problem.
is where you have to start intervening and
That-
make,
that-
like he said, the value chain is unless you cover
Yes.
that, you can't get them to diversify.
Yeah, so unless we are, see, it's a combination of incentives that we need to build in, right from land preparation till procurement. Okay.
Not just incentives, but also working.
The ecology, the ecology has to fall in place.
That's right.
The ecology has to fall in place. So I think we don't have that kind of a system yet for pulses as yet.
And our focus should also be looking at nutrient security. We are not looking at nutrients at all. We look at agriculture, we look at income. I mean, we look at it's a very male
we look at
view of
we look we look
Very true.
we look only at cereal self-sufficiency. Cereal self-sufficiency rather than nutritional security.
You have to make deciding quickly, so and we have to be deciding things will be different perhaps.
Yeah, but what about the quality of this oil palm for food purposes? For non-food, it's okay. It is not supposed to be a very good oil.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, so the
Sesame-
people who produce
safflower is the best.
the people who produce lot of oil palm in Malaysia,
Indonesia.
and Thailand and all say that this is a European propaganda about oil palm.
And in any case, we are buying tons of it. So right now, the question is that we are buying so much of oil palm from
Palm oil from Malaysia.
But that is another issue to look at as to how do we replace that with.
No, see, even Narwan Borlaug said, I'd rather have people eat food laced with pesticides.
Correct. Then no food.
Than no food at all. So you'd rather eat
Oil palm than no.
Than no oil at
Very,
all.
very right. You were saying something. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we have seen in other countries, especially Nepal, to grow a lot in terms of organic farming. So what is the condition in terms of organic farming in Telangana, and what are the government initiatives? Are there any?
Not much.
Sorry, I missed the question.
The
It's
organic.
about organic and
Organic
natural.
farming.
Organic and natural
Because that
farming.
also brings in the question of, like ma'am said, diversification of our food basket for nutrition. So do you think that organic farming can play a role in that?
No. Organic farming, I think the aim is basically to control use of pesticides and synthetic chemicals and all that. Whether it will lead to increased yield is still the question is out in the open. Okay. We don't know if organic farming will actually lead to greater incomes for the farmers and it will feed the country. Okay. We don't know it.
We saw
The
the
Sri Lankan issue is something that we have to examine.
Yeah.
Whether it was
But
this also.
the Sikkim example tells us that in the long run, it will be better than this.
No, but the Sikkim feed itself.
Yes.
But from security point of view,
Sir,
organic
I started working with the soybean in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, there was a French rural center who started this organic farming. Fukuoka had come there, and we did talk about one farm, one straw farming and all that. But 10 years down the line, when I was doing my PhD, I did it in the same area. The organic farming has been just limited to only 200-300 farmers, and whereas soybean has been picked up by so many others. And there is one incident which I particularly remember, when we were students, long back, 40 years back, when there was a wheat congress when Professor Norman Bulldog had come to India. So we had all gone to him and we had asked him this question. Yes, sir, you have created this green revolution and you have created silent spring and all death and pesticides and all that. It's your He had made a very interesting proposition. He said, okay, now you guys are all agriculture students. Look at what is the total production available if we don't go for hybrid variety. If we go for old type varieties and green farming and organic, would you have enough to feed the world?
That's what he said.
So that is precisely where he is. No, but that's where he says that, we have made a choice, dying of hunger or dying of poisoning. And that's a choice that the society as a whole has made.
Yeah.
So, we can't help it. I mean, it's too bad. So, shifting totally to
There is a
organic.
place for both.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then,
Okay.
And then the rich will have the organic, and the poor
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
continue
Which
to
is
have
what.
the
Which is what. Yeah. Sure.
Sir, one is we have a lot of labor problem. So Telangana government actually one study was conducted on farm mechanization and whether we are coming up with some kind of policy on farm mechanization. That is one. Second is Telangana is a lot of many things we discuss about turmeric. So any policy on
Turmeric.
and
Haldi.
we
Turmeric,
are the largest producer of the country in turmeric. And also turmeric is a big issue in the state. So whether we are contemplating some kind of policy on this.
Yeah, on farm mechanization, we already have sort of a policy. We are trying to incorporate drones into that. So farm mechanization, the policy of the state government is basically something like Uberization. You make enough kind of gadgets available to local entrepreneurs at the mandal or village level, and it will be available to the farmers in that
Custom hiring
centers. So out of the 540 odd rural mandals, we already have custom hiring centers operating at some level or the other in more than 300 mandals. Now whether it is enough to meet the entire needs of the mandal is a different question. It depends on the local capacity. We only give a package of some 25 or 30 lakhs. It may not be enough to meet the entire requirement. So there is a need for much more investment. In the current financial year, government has budgeted 500 crores for farm mechanization. But we also want to invest heavily on drones.
No, but the next level processing, is that also being funded?
Yeah, so food processing is not my mandate. It is a mandate of the industries department. It's mandate of the industries department. But what I can tell you is the government is investing on some 10 or 12 big size food processing zones. Okay, so each zone will be about 500 to 600 acres, and small to medium entrepreneurs can take land there. Government will provide all the infrastructure, and under the industrial policy, whatever are the incentives, they will get, and we can start those industries. So the rice milling.
With agriculture?
Yeah. So what would happen is, like, we are getting jute manufacturers. 3 of them have already signed up. So it will be my burden to ensure that farmers take up jute cultivation. Okay. Whereas
Yeah.
Is there a water for jute?
no, it will be more or less like paddy, no. So, but jute also, now we are getting our jute bags and all from Bengal. Why should we get it there? When I was a
Naturally
kid.
has so much of water.
Correct.
Plastic bags for food
Yeah,
stuff, so
correct.
we can get into jute bags again.
Traditionally in Telangana's villages, the farmers used to grow janumu. I don't know, janumu, that is jute, for their own requirement.
What is the Telugu word you use?
Janumu.
Jinamu.
Okay. So there is knowledge in the rural areas.
Even it was grown as a mixed
Indigenous technical knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. On the other hand, oil palm also we are encouraging. So about 10 to 12 factories will come up oil palm. Then groundnut is another area where there is lot of scope for processing. The advantage is Telangana's groundnut. Unlike the groundnut what we get from Gujarat and Maharashtra, where it is grown in the rainy season during Kharif. Telangana groundnut comes in Rabi. So this aflatoxin, which is very common in groundnut, the chances of Telangana's groundnut having aflatoxin are much lower compared to the groundnut of Gujarat and
Is it? But I don't
because of the low moisture when we grow the crop.
But it's the other way around, because when we were trying to also market groundnut, one of the reputation of the Telangana groundnut is that it has a high aflatoxin.
No, you.
So
I
you
think
buy
you are,
it
I
for-
think at that time you were referring to groundnut which was grown in Anantapur.
Yes.
That is in Kharif.
And it is-
About the Ravi.
And it is Andhra.
No, no.
That I'm not talking about that division, but
Yeah.
the
So
point is, yes, that is Ravi, Kharif and this is Ravi.
yeah, currently in Telangana we grow our groundnut is grown mostly in Rabi. We have around 3 to 3.5 lakh acres of groundnut.
Okay. Thank you very much. I mean, this has been lovely. But yeah, Venkat, did you have no?
clarify.
Go ahead.
No, only thing is that I'm actually encountered with somewhere in Telangana, the production versus procurement. That is not actually matching. We have procurement
No.
figures.
See,
We should not have procurement more than
no,
production.
we have never had it. I have the data. In Kharif, our procurement is around 35 to 40% of what we produce. In Rabi, it is 60 to 65% of what we produce. Okay. There is a perception that some of the procurement we do comes from Chhattisgarh, and some unscrupulous traders get paddy from there and palm it off to our people. But even if it happens, I don't think it will be in thousands of
Substantial, yeah.
metric tons.
Unlikely.
Okay.
So thank you
And
very
in
much.
any case, Chhattisgarh doesn't produce any paddy in the second season.
Yeah. And Chhattisgarh would produce very little paddy in any case.
Yeah.
Even if we buy all of it.
See, even when government has when our government says that we are prepared to buy every grain, okay, but every grain is not procured.
Yeah.
As I said, even if you assume 24 quintals of paddy per acre, okay, we procure only 60 to 65% of our production.
Yeah, that should be. I mean, because own consumption, self-consumption.
Self-consumption
Even
is there,
the
seed
Yeah.
is
farmers,
there,
all that they
and then
produce, they
rice
are be
millers,
selling, they keep
Some
rice
market,
millers.
yeah, and some other markets.
Yes.
So, Shankar, Anwar, Maitri, Sharif Saab, Venkat, Asim, thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us. It's been very enlightening for us.
I really would love to be
We will,
involved further.
I will get you into what we are proposing to do with this next.
Yes.
We really want to do some work on this to ensure that, we look at what has happened, all the interventions that have worked, and the issue of what next, the issue of what should be done, what are the challenges that come forward, and how we can, how can we articulate these achievements.
And to start thinking about nutrition.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll be in touch.